Biblical Parenting for Busy Moms. I'm Crystal Mbenuzue, and we have been doing a series on discipline. It's 3 parts. It's the when, why, and the how. So this series is on the why. As moms, discipline is a big question, right? We want to do it the right way. We want to make sure that it's really getting to the heart of what our child needs, but sometimes it's really hard to know what our child needs. So today we're just going to focus on the why. Why are we disciplining? In Hebrews 12, God disciplines us for our good. So we are imitating God's example when we discipline our children. And your children, they will respect you if the discipline is consistent and done for their benefit. This is the key to discipline. And as parents, we have to evaluate our own heart as far as why I'm disciplining my child for whatever offense just happened. Are we disciplining because they're making it hard for us or because we're embarrassed by their behavior? Are we disciplining because it's going to hurt them or others or their relationship with God? So in order to get some answers to our questions, we're going to jump over to James chapter 3. Now, this chapter is actually written as an exhortation to teachers. If you look in James chapter 3 and verse 13, there's a term, it's sophos, and it's translated as the word wise. Well, this term was specifically for the teachers of the day, the teachers of the law, the rabbi, the scribes. So this was their technical term for those people. So the whole chapter was for those who are teaching the scriptures to other people. So you may not consider yourself a religious teacher, but you are teaching your kids about God and what pleases Him and the life that we have to live in order to show God how much we love Him. So James chapter 3 has a lot of really rich information for us as we teach our children. So let's see what we can learn from that chapter. Go over to James chapter 3, verse 13 through 16. It says, "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in humility that come from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but it's earthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere." So this is just rich with information for us as moms, because we can apply this to our parenting. When it first starts off and talks about this earthly wisdom and where it comes from, and that, we could be harboring bitter envy and selfish ambition, that actually is the opposite of humility and wisdom. And so they actually can refer to somebody who is critical or likely to get into a heated argument. And so if we think about that and how we parent our children, the question is why? Why am I disciplining my child? Is it because it's not easy for me? Is it because I don't prefer what they would do? They haven't disobeyed. They're not being disrespectful, but it just puts a heavier burden on me to clean up a mess, or to get their shoes on before they get out the door. These are things that we have to be careful about, because we can get into heated arguments with our children over small trivial things, when really what we should maybe do instead is just ask for obedience first and give a consequence immediately after, instead of the banter back and forth. So these are things that can create disorder in our homes if we allow our own desires to lead us in our parenting. If we want to parent with wisdom from above, then that kind of parenting is considerate of our children and what is their needs, what is in their heart. It's full of mercy, giving them what they don't deserve. My children have deserved pow-pows. We call them pow-pows, spankings at times. And I have talked to them about what mercy is. And sometimes I say, you know what, you deserve a spanking, but mommy's not going to give it to you. I'm going to give you mercy. Our kids now know so much about mercy that they will ask for it. Mommy, please give me mercy. Give me a second chance. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we have to give the spanking. But that's wisdom from above, knowing when our children need our mercy. Being impartial. Some of us have multiple children. Being sure that we're treating every child equally, and being sincere in how we go about our parenting. When we parent out of our own desires or our selfish ambition, maybe because we're trying to protect our own reputation in front of other people, or we just don't want the snide look from strangers, or maybe it's just easier if our kids would just obey. You know, we don't want to deal with the tantrums, the whining, cleaning up all the messes. But those can come from ourselves, and they lack the humility needed to understand our children first. Disciplining our children brings them closer to us and closer to God. We want to parent with wisdom, with understanding, and that takes time, it takes energy, it takes a focus on our children and their heart. So I would personally implore you to spend as much time as possible with your children undistracted. I know that we live in a culture that is very busy, and we sometimes have to have two incomes to stay afloat. But if you're in a position that you can take a year off work or maybe go part-time, I would encourage you to do it. We're not used to staying home with our kids, but that's where they learn the most. If you have to work full-time, then work full-time and cancel all the other extracurricular activities that want to take up your time. Time will go by fast, and you want to use this time to shape their worldview of God, of His design, of His love, of His purpose for their lives. And this will take time, a lot of time, not only to teach them, but also to evaluate our own hearts as parents, to ensure that we're parenting in such a way that does bring our kids close to God, and that our lives are a reflection of our love for God. There is a method to get to our own heart to understand why we are doing what we're doing. So I would implore you, if you have the opportunity, the next time you discipline your child, ask yourself why. And then ask yourself why again. And then ask yourself why again. Ask yourself why 5 times. And when you get to the end of that succession, see what your response is. And that will give you a little more insight into the heart of what you wanted to accomplish when you were teaching and disciplining your child. Until next time, I'm with you. Thanks for all your comments. If you'd like to know when the next video is coming out, feel free to hit subscribe and click on the notification bell, and you'll get an email when the next one's available.